Pushed down the stairs by her closest friend, she awoke to find herself gnawing on raw meat in a primitive tribe. Upon opening her eyes, Xie Zhi felt as limp as a noodle, her hunger so intense it could consume an entire bowl. As her hand grazed the surface, she discovered the stone was slick with dark red, sticky substance. It was blood, her own blood. Leaning against a jagged rock, she noticed, in the dim light, a layer of thick, dark crimson liquid clinging to the stone. Was this her blood? Suppressing a gasp that nearly escaped her lips, Xie Zhi took a step back and hastily made her way toward the cave entrance. Though she thought she was moving quickly, it was in fact a painfully slow endeavor. Her body, starved for far too long, lacked the strength to walk properly. Only then did she recall her so-called good sister, Xie Ling, who had laughed while shoving her down the stairs, taking everything from her food, her clothes, even her fine, ultimately leading to her demise. Oh, how I truly wish for my demise. Finally managing to crawl outside the cave, she found nothing under the moonlight but a nauseating stench. Peering back into the cave, she nearly retched. A mountain of raw meat lay before her. Had she been tossed into a butcher's warehouse? In the distance, flickering flames caught her eye as she stealthily approached. A group of individuals clad in animal skins danced around a bonfire, while a woman adorned with crow feathers and animal bones stood atop a stone, exclaiming, "Thanks to the beast. God, we have captured the horned beast." Xie Zhi was utterly bewildered. Had she truly traversed into a primitive society? Cautiously advancing toward the source of the sound, she caught sight of the flickering firelight. Hiding behind a large tree, the scene of people dancing around the bonfire unfolded before her. It was evident to Xie Zhi that she was no longer in the modern world. With their animal skin garments, references to beast deities, and a lone woman atop the stone wearing a black crow feathered headdress, her long robe shimmering in the firelight, and a necklace of animal bones glowing ghostly white, she leaned on a staff entwined with vines. Once a billionaire CEO, she now found herself fretting over a morsel of food. After painstakingly creating fire and roasting a piece of tasteless, saltless meat, her jaws ached from the effort. What was the situation in this primitive tribe? Would they discover her presence? Could she survive? This opening was far too hellish to be hunted across the internet immediately upon her arrival. The original owner of this body was quite the troublemaker. Having devoured 20 pounds of raw meat, Xie Zhi stepped outside the next day, only to be caught. Yao shouted as she grabbed her, "You stole Xue's meat. Shall have the chief punish you." Only then did Xie Zhi absorb the memories. The original was both lazy and greedy, stealing meat and chasing men, only to fight when rejected, leaving the entire tribe exasperated. With her, "Zhi, why did you steal my meat?" A young man roared, advancing angrily. Xie Zhi wore a face devoid of expression. "I'm sorry. I will return in the future." Xue exploded in rage, pointing a finger at her. "You do nothing, so why should you divide the meat? Throw her out." The crowd erupted in chaos. The winter season. "She must be stealing meat. We will starve to death. Last time, she even broke the clay pot I exchanged for 5 pieces of beast skin." "Lock her up," Xie Zhi observed coolly, rolling her eyes inwardly. Is this all? Compared to her adversaries in the business world, these individuals are mere children. The clan leader fixed his piercing gaze upon her, his eyes sharp as daggers. "What do you have to say?" Everyone's eyes were upon her, eagerly awaiting her downfall. Could Xie Zhi turn the tide? What would she use to repay that meat? Would there be any hidden tricks from Xue? This opening was as dismal as a lump of mud. She was curious to see how she could revive it. A billionaire CEO transmigrated into a destitute wretch, subjected to scrutiny by the entire network, while still coveting meat? The disparity was too immense. With a single statement from the clan leader, Xie Zhi's life was spared. "Go gather, or there will be no meat to eat." Xue, lingering nearby, added with a sarcastic tone, "If you cannot repay, prepare to be expelled from the tribe." Xie Zhi replied nonchalantly, "Rest assured, I will return the meat to you, and I shall not steal again." "What if you err again?" Xue immediately interrogated. This woman was indeed filled with malice. Meeting Xue's malicious gaze, Xie Zhi said, "If I do not return the meat and steal again, I shall leave the tribe." Xie Zhi retorted directly, "If someone deliberately slanders me, the clan leader must not show bias." The clan leader swore an oath, causing Xue to hastily lower her head in fear. Finally escaping the crowd, Xie Zhi nearly fainted from the stench. How long had these people gone without bathing? The mingled odor surged to her head, more potent than the stench of her company's restroom. Upon returning to the cave for the remaining roasted meat, she collided with a striking man. With an inverted triangle physique and features surpassing those of modern male models, his disdainful gaze could slay. "This is my meat, take yours, and leave quickly." Xie Zhi marveled internally. Such a handsome man in a primitive tribe? Too bad he was an ice block. The man was immensely tall and muscular, yet not excessively so, with long legs and a standard inverted triangle build. His face was equally impressive, with sharp, defined features. Upon seeing her steal meat, he frowned and approached. Wow, what an impressive figure. Her dwelling was even more dismal. A stone pile of a house, lacking windows and doors, containing only 2 pieces of beast skin and a stone pot. Xie Zhi gazed at this crude shelter, tears nearly spilling. Once, I resided in a villa and drove luxury cars now. I am troubled over a piece of meat. Would tomorrow's gathering go smoothly? Would Xue secretly sabotage her? What was the identity of that handsome man? This plot was suffocatingly impoverished, yet she was eager to witness her resurgence, transmigrating only to end up in 3 pounds of mud. How long had the original owner gone without a bath? As Xie Zhi touched the stone bed, her hand was sticky, nearly inducing a gag reflex. Upon jumping into the river, she beheld a figure in the water, black and unkempt, with hair resembling a bird's nest. It was, astonishingly, herself. She scrubbed herself vigorously, layers of mud washing away, leaving spectators with goosebumps. Ding! The Queen trading system has been successfully activated. Hostbound. Xie Zhi. Emotional currency. 0. Please strive to become the Queen. The sudden voice caused Xie Zhi to instinctively cover her body and glance around warily. Yet, there was no one else in the vicinity. Having just emerged from the water, a mechanical voice erupted in her mind. The Queen trading system? Capable of exchanging food, high technology, and even cultivation manuals? Emotional currency can be exchanged, earned through the affection and admiration of others? Xie Zhi's eyes sparkled. This golden opportunity had arrived just in time. She donned a gray linen garment and sought out Yao, who was instantly taken aback. Zhi, how have you become so fair? Like snow. Is that really you, Zhi? Yao gazed in astonishment at the now radiant Xie Zhi, enviously reaching out to touch her arm. So fair. Xie Zhi, unaccustomed to the physical contact from stranger, subtly recoiled and replied coolly, everyone becomes fair after a good wash. After trading half a roasted meat for some wild vegetables, Xie Zhi returned to her stone dwelling to start a fire. And no utensils? She seized a stone knife and swiftly whittled branches into chopsticks. The skills of a billionaire can still be applied in a primitive society. What exactly can the system exchange? Will she earn emotional currency from tomorrow's gathering? Might that handsome ice block reappear? This plot, just as the golden finger activated, is so exhilarating she is utterly enamored. Just as she transmigrated, was she already being chased by a tiger? This opening is far too perilous. With her mere 2 emotional coins, she exchanged for cloth to clean her stone bed and collapsed into slumber. The next day, she hurried into the forest to gather, having just plucked half a bundle of wild vegetables. A heavy huffing sound emerged from behind, warm breath brushing against her neck. Turning around, she was instantly petrified. A gigantic tiger, its eyes glowing green, drool almost dripping onto her. Its size surpassed any tiger she had seen in her previous life by more than 3-fold. Huff, huff. The heavy panting grew increasingly greedy, as if aware it had been discovered. It began to reveal its claws, ceasing its concealment. The sound of its paws scraping against dry wood and leaves accelerated. Hot breath exhaled from its nostrils seemed to envelop her neck. Instantly, her hair stood on end, heart racing wildly. Xie Zhi ran frantically, her heart pounding as if it would burst. She could not run toward the tribe, lest she endanger her kin. This primal tiger was more ruthless than her corporate rivals. System, give me a weapon, she screamed inwardly. The system replied coldly. Gun, 10,000 emotional coins, to be repaid in 3 months otherwise. Penalties will apply. Xie Zhi nearly spat blood. Highway robbery. Earned 10,000 in 3 months? This system is a true miser. The tiger drew nearer, the stench overpowering her senses. Could she devise a way out before being devoured? Should she exchange the gun or not? If she does, how will she repay her debts? The plot is so thrilling it nearly halts her heart. Rescued from the jaws of tiger, only to witness a handsome man tearing apart the ferocious beast. What an extraordinary scene. Just as Xie Zhi was about to grit her teeth in exchange for a gun costing 10,000 emotional coins, a thunderous roar erupted behind her. A man swiftly dodged the tiger's lunge, his fists bulging with veins, delivering a powerful blow. The tiger collapsed instantly, dust swirling around them. He leapt up, raising his arm, muscles rippling, veins prominent, and struck down with fury. The colossal creature fell, sending a cloud of dust into the air. Xie Zhi turned to behold this fierce spectacle. Her gaze swept across the man's bare torso, unmarred by animal hide. Powerful muscles, of shaped physique, and blood splattered across his face, he appeared like a god of war, strikingly handsome, yet intimidating. It was that icy, handsome man, Xiao. Blood smeared across his face, his gaze sharp as a knife. He fixed his eyes on her. Why are you here alone? Where is your protector? Xie Zhi was taken aback. Is there really a protector? What a peculiar news setting. Xiao hoisted the tiger's corpse, his muscular form causing her to swallow discreetly. Compared to modern male models, he was simply in a league of his own. On their way back, Xie Zhi stumbled upon enormous potatoes in the ground, their green flesh appearing toxic. Xiao frowned. Toxic? Do not eat. Xie Zhi retorted anxiously. I'm only planting them for fun. I want to eat them. They tug at each other, his grip strong enough to crush stone. Can these potatoes truly be planted? Why is Xiao suddenly concerned about her? Can Xie Zhi truly rely on this formidable ally? The narrative unfolds. Having narrowly escaped the tiger's jaws, she now finds herself in a perilous arena. How exhilarating! Digging up a giant potato, only to be thwarted by a handsome man? What a twist! Aided by the system, with her hands reddened from Xiao's grip, Xie Zhi furiously dug up 5 or 6 large potatoes. Upon returning to the tribe, Xiao dropped his belongings and departed. Just as she buried the potatoes in the fire, the system suddenly chimed in, testing the potatoes for edibility, non-toxic. Xie Zhi's eyes sparkled. Finally, a stroke of fortune. Anticipating praise, the system was instead met with silence, left bewildered. Where were the compliments it had expected? The dim yellow light gradually faded. The sun perched on the high mountain, a gentle breeze wafting by, creating a comfortable ambience. Xie Zhi set the stone pot down, poured in water. With no meat today, she had to settle for wild vegetables. However, if the potatoes were indeed edible, her food worries for the next couple of days would be alleviated. Yao rushed over, panting. Zhi, you didn't gather today. There's no meat to share, as she handed Xie Zhi a small piece of meat along with a heap of wild vegetables, her eyes fixated on the fire. What is that smell? So fragrant. Just as Xie Zhi mentioned, it was a new food item. Yao's eyes sparkled with excitement. You discovered new food? How impressive. Are you a shaman? In the tribe, sustenance relied entirely upon the shaman's discernment. Consuming the wrong food could lead to dire consequences. Xie Zhi's heart brimmed with joy. It seemed she would never again fret over a lack of food. The potato and the flames erupted with a crack, sending an enticing aroma spiraling into the air. Yao swallowed hard, her gaze fixated in awe. Could this potato truly be edible? Would Shui attempt to seize it if she found out? Could Xie Zhi earn emotional currency through this newfound food? This narrative, just as survival was secured, a delightful surprise emerged. How exhilarating. The roasted potato had unexpectedly become the tribe's new darling. This billionaire's journey through time had proven to be quite remarkable. Yao gazed at the charred item with disdain. Can this actually be consumed? The next moment, an olfactory delight ensued. Peeling away the charred skin revealed tender, steaming green flesh, soft and sticky, with a fragrance that tantalized the nostrils. Yao devoured it in mere moments, her eyes wide with astonishment. Zhi, this is absolutely delicious. Xie Zhi touched the potato, noting it wasn't overly hot, and split it in two, offering half to Yao. She peeled away the outer skin and took a bite. This is called a potato since it's roasted in the fire. It's referred to as roasted potato, much like roasted meat. Once cooked, the potato transformed from a deep green to a gentle hue, appearing far less intimidating than when uncooked. Xie Zhi sprinkled a pinch of salt into the wild vegetable soup, instantly enhancing its flavor. Yao took a sip and leapt up. Zhi, you're a genius. Tomorrow, I'll have my mother prepare it this way. As she departed, Xie Zhi handed Yao 2 potatoes, each roughly the size of her forearm. Yao cradled the potatoes on her way home. Her mother, Yu, astonished at the sight. Is this the new food Zhi discovered? After hearing Yao's description, Yu's expression shifted as she touched the potatoes. This lazy girl truly had some skill. Upon hearing the news, Yu paused her tasks, staring at Yao in disbelief. New food? You mean Zhi found this? She took the potatoes, inspecting and sniffing them, yet detected no discernible aroma or clue as to their nature. Suddenly, the system chimed in. Use favorability to current emotional currency. 7. Xie Zhi's heart soared with delight. This was merely the beginning. Just wait and see. Would they discover more potatoes during tomorrow's gathering? What mischief would Shui concoct if she learned of this? What splendid items could be procured with 7 emotional coins? This tale, a reversal of fortune driven by single potato, seemed promising. Was the time-traveling woman truly subjected to public ridicule? Her sharp retort silenced the naysayers. What a masterful maneuver. With 7 emotional coins in hand, Xie Zhi accompanied Yao to the gathering site. As they arrived, Xie approached with a mocking tone. Oh, I thought you were about to be expelled from the tribe. Xie Zhi did not even glance up. Are you a worm in my belly? How do you know so much? Be cautious, or your face may meet a fist. Xie froze, her words lost on her, yet the indignation was unmistakable. Seeing Xie Zhi's silence, Xie assumed she was feeling guilty and sneered. Even if you've come to gather, what difference does it make? You're still just a waste. Her words implied that Xie Zhi was utterly incapable. Are you the worm in my belly? How come you know everything? Do you not realize that your face might bear a resounding slap? Who would not speak with such sarcasm? All the while, Xie Zhi's straw sandals proved utterly useless, the stones digging painfully into her feet. Yet Yao strode forward as if unfazed, her steps brimming with vigor. Such an extraordinary primitive constitution. Upon reaching the gathering site, a commanding call sent the women scattering in all directions. Yao pulled Xie Zhi down among the wild vegetables, instructing, Zhi, pinch them like this, leave the roots, so they can grow again next year. Xie Zhi observed their deft movements, secretly impressed. This primitive tribe possesses a consciousness for sustainable development. Quite remarkable. Xie glared at her from a distance, her gaze sharp as a knife. Xie Zhi, disinterested, focused solely on foraging for wild vegetables. After all, earning emotional currency is the true endeavor. Could she truly repay her debts with mere foraging? Would Xie attempt to sabotage her behind the scenes? Would her foot injuries hold up? The tension in this unfolding narrative is palpable. I relish it. A billionaire CEO out for wild vegetables, utterly outmatched. The combat prowess of these primitives is astonishing. Xie Zhi squatted until her legs grew numb, finally managing to fill half a beast's skin. But upon looking up, she was left dumbfounded. Others had amassed piles of beast skins, 2 or 3 times her own. This was no mere gathering, it was a devastating defeat. Xie Zhi, focused on her task, remained silent. The only sounds the rustling of wild vegetables. Crunch, crunch. Time slipped by, and Xie Zhi nearly filled her beast skin, her legs stiff from squatting. She stood to stretch. Surely, this bounty of wild vegetables must suffice. Xie Zhi felt a swell of pride. Being so capable on her first attempt should earn her a substantial piece of meat from the chieftain. Yet, with a single turn, her daydream shattered. Every tribe person was laden with beast skins, 2 or 3 times her own haul. Following out a search for fruits, Xie Zhi pointed at the bright red berries and asked, "Can we eat this?" Yao turned pale, yanking her away. "That's a mama fruit. Eating it will leave you paralyzed all over. It could be fatal." It seems this primitive forest is fraught with deadly traps. Upon discovering a fruit tree, Yao transformed into a nimble monkey, leaping to pluck the fruits with incredible agility. Xie Zhi tasted one. It was sweet and juicy, even better than modern pears. Together, they filled 2 bags to the brim, preparing to head home as the sun reached its zenith. Xie Zhi hoisted the beast skin bag, nearly losing her balance. "This thing is far too heavy." Seeing her struggle, Yao earnestly advised, "Zhi, you need to eat more meat. The more you eat, the stronger you'll become." Xie Zhi thought, so here, the measure of strength hinges on meat consumption? Would they encounter Xue on the way back? How much meat could all these fruits be exchanged for? When would she cultivate the strength akin to that of a primitive person? The plot unfolds with such theatricality, even in the simple act of foraging for wild vegetables. I could pursue this tale until the end of time. Xie Zhi, your words resemble those of a grandmother fervently feeding her grandchild. Do not offer any more meat to Xue. If you truly desire a man, do not remain entangled with Xue. Noticing Xie Zhi's silence, Yao hastily continued, "Zhi, truly, Xue is so frail, incapable of even catching a single sheep beast. He cannot sustain himself. Previously, he relied entirely on fish gathering for sustenance." Xie Zhi pondered silently, realizing that the Xue mentioned by Yao was likely the man that her original self was pursuing, someone akin to a boiled chicken, lacking in abilities. Indolent, and quite similar to her original self, having once been involved with a woman named Yu.